Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the beloved community at River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Leanna Bresnahan. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the distinct honor of serving this congregation as president of the board and also as membership chair. This morning, our service leader is Karen Gonzalez, who is our faith development director, and our chalice lighter is Alessandra Diaz, better known as Ali. She's the youngest one on the podium. We welcome all of our visitors this morning. We hope you'll stay for coffee after the service so we can get to know you better. And if you haven't already, please stop by our welcome table right by the front door so that we can learn how to stay in touch with you. We open our doors and our hearts to you as you are, as we come together on this journey of transformation for ourselves and our world. May our sacred time together be one of caring, courage, transformation, and a call to action.
I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too good a burden to bear. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too burden to bear. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear.
In this congregation, it is our mission to nurture our spirits, to love intentionally, and to create a just and healthy planet. What we share here is not an unchanging dogma, but an affirmation that we are called to be agents of love and justice, and to build a world where everyone is cherished for who they are. River of Grass is an unapologetically progressive home for seekers of truth, boldly told, love freely given, hope never failing, answering the call for peace and justice for all living things and for our earth. Our congregation was intentionally named to lift up the place in which we live, the life-giving Florida Everglades, ancestral lands of the Tequesta and Calusa people, whose memory we honor today and always. The Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida and the Seminole tribe of Florida are the present-day stewards of these ancestral lands. May we strive to live by their example of living in community with the land and her people. And now let us pause and breathe together for a moment as we enter into this time to connect again with one another, with the holy name, and the light of love within us all.
Our call to worship this morning is titled Sacred Descent by the Reverend Michelle Collins. Welcome to all who are restless for a world renewed. We come carried by ancestors who refused the silence of despair and dared to sing a new song together. Their courage whispers through us still. Today, we resist by showing up. We resist by keeping faith with what is not yet. Our gathering is itself an act of sacred descent, calling us to rise and unite as co-creators of a freer tomorrow. Our opening hymn is number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. Let us rise in body or spirit.
Needs to be taken down. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through the generations, now ours to hold high. As we light our chalice together this morning, let us join our voices with these words by Paul Sprecher. We light this chalice in memory of the courage of those who have struggled for freedom, the persistence of those who struggled for justice, and the love of those who built beloved communities to carry on the light of hope. In the light of love, let us renew our covenant as we say together, love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente. We sustain and strengthen our beloved community and its work in the world through the gifts of our time, our skills, our love, and our money. Each Sunday, 50% of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, which provides meals, clothing, and support for those in need here in Broward County. The remainder supports the mission and ministry here at River of Grass. Ushers have already come forward to receive the offering. You may also scan the QR code on the screen or text the number on the screen to donate. There are also several ways to donate on our River of Grass website, which is riverofgrassu.org. Please join us in singing our offertory hymn, number 169, We Shall Overcome.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart,
We bless these gifts so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk this holy path toward ever greater compassion and care. Thank you for these generous gifts of the heart.
I offer you these words by the Reverend Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, eternal mystery that holds us close, receive the meditations of our hearts this day. We come together in this quiet moment to unify our hearts again towards the clarion call of our time. May justice and equity guide us to greater connection, a greater truth. Our part is just as great, to approach dismantling systems of oppression within us in order for us all to be free. To know that when I cherish and tend to the divine spark within me, when I know in my bones that I am worthy of love and whole just as I am, that there is greater potential for mutual understanding and care. Love is not scarce. Our ability to extend compassion and grace can be. I place my hand over my heart and know I can feel the spirit of life within me. I invite you to place your hand over your heart and feel the spirit of life within you. The spirit of life is divine within us. The spirit of life is here. This is the beginning of justice and equity when we go within in order to be of service in our communities and our world. May it be so. Amen. And we sing together.
That amen. Wow. Every week we talk about our heritage and our hope as Unitarian Universalists. And so I have a rather long story to tell you this morning. A true story. There was one, first of all, let's take ourselves back to the 1960s. And for those of us who weren't alive yet, well, I was, I can't lie, but for those of you who weren't, imagine what you've learned. There was one threat to the reign of white supremacy in Birmingham, Alabama. As an outgrowth of the Montgomery bus boycott, protest movements had sprung up in numerous cities across the South. In Birmingham, one of the nation's most courageous freedom fighters was the Universalist minister, the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who had organized the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights, or ACHR, in the spring of 1956. Shuttlesworth, a wiry, energetic, and indomitable man, had set out to change Birmingham and to end, for all time, the terrorist, racist rule of Bull Connor. At an organizing meeting at At an organizing meeting of Harry Belafonte's apartment in New York City, Shuttlesworth and King spoke to supporters of the situation in Birmingham and of the risk faced by those willing to take action. Shuttlesworth, wearing the scars of earlier battles, brought a sense of the danger as well as the earnestness of the crusade into that peaceful New York living room. Although many of those present had worked with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in the past, there was a silence, almost like the shock of a fresh discovery when Shuttlesworth said, "You have to be prepared to die before you can begin to live." Today, at the Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport, there is a pictorial testament to Shuttlesworth's life as a civil rights activist. Today, you can visit Shuttleworth's Bethel Baptist Church and see where his house stood before it was bombed on Christmas Eve, 1956. Miraculously, his entire family survived, and the bombing gave him the resolve to fight even harder. On September 15, 1963, 4 little girls attending Sunday school were killed at the 16th Street Baptist Church when a bomb containing 15 sticks of dynamite attached to a timer was placed on the wall outside their church. A week after the bombing, a memorial watch was held at Fountain Square led by Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. In Washington, D.C., a march of 5,000 mourners started at All Souls Unitarian Church and proceeded to Lafayette Square in front of the White House. 2 years later, Black activists focused their efforts on eliminating the many measures used in the South to rob African American citizens of their right to vote. The focal point of that effort was Selma, Alabama. A march from Selma to Montgomery was organized for March of 1965. The march was brutally turned back at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. A second march 2 days later forced marchers to return to their base at Brown Chapel AME Church. On the night of the second march, 3 Unitarian Universalist ministers, James Reeb, Clark Olson, and Orloff Miller, were leaving an integrated restaurant when they were attacked by 4 men. Reeb suffered critical head injuries from the beating. He was taken first to the hospital that serviced the Black population in Selma. That hospital did not have the facilities to treat him. The Selma White Hospital refused to admit him, as did every other hospital in Montgomery. He was finally treated at a hospital in Birmingham, but to no avail, as he passed away 2 days later on March 11, 1965. The Reverend Clark Wells of St. John's Unitarian Church of Cincinnati, a friend of Reverend Reeves, was in the hospital room when he died. Nationwide protests were held in the weeks after Selma. 5,000 were in attendance in Cincinnati at a rally, which the First Unitarian Church played a role in organizing. And in his eulogy delivered at Brown Chapel, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said of Reverend Reeb, "James Reed symbolizes the force of goodwill in our nation. He demonstrated the conscience of our nation. He was an attorney for the defense of the innocent in the court of world opinion. He was a witness to the truth that men of many races and classes might live, eat, and work together as brothers." The violence continued. On March 25th, just a few weeks after Reeb's brutal murder, Mrs. Viola Liuzzo was ambushed on the highway between Selma and Montgomery. Mrs. Liuzzo, who had recently joined the UU faith, was shuttling protesters between Selma and Montgomery when she was shot to death in her car on Highway 80. To add another level of inexcusable inhumanity to her death, J. Edgar Hoover, who was the head of the FBI, initiated a smear campaign against her to deflect attention from the fact that one of her killers was a paid FBI informant. Since that time, Mrs. Liuzzo has received multiple recognitions as a true fallen hero of the civil rights movement. Fred Shuttlesworth, James Reeb, Viola Liuzzo, Unitarian Universalists who are remembered for their sacrifice in the fight against grave injustice. These are our ancestors. This is our history. Our hope lies in the Reverend Ashley Horan, who serves as the Vice President for Programs and Ministries, where she coordinates the UUA's primary programs, including supervision of the Offices for Ministries and Faith Development, Congregational Life, and the Organizing Strategy Side with Love staff groups. Previously, Reverend Horan served as the Organizing Strategy Director of the team that holds all the outward-facing justice work of the UUA under the banner of Side with Love and its related campaigns, UU the Vote, Create Climate Justice, Love Resists, and Uplift Action for LGBTQ, Gender, and Reproductive Justice. Prior to her work at the UUA, Reverend Horan served as the executive director of the Minnesota UU Social Justice Alliance and the curriculum developer for Beloved Conversations. Reverend Horan resides in Minneapolis, Minnesota, just a few blocks from where Renee Good was murdered. She is a part of the active resistance movement there in her neighborhood, acting as an ICE observer. She rushed to the scene shortly after the shooting, where ICE agents fired pepper rounds in her direction. She remains undeterred. Quote, "At the center of my faith as a Unitarian Universalist are these twin beliefs: that every human life has inherent worthiness and dignity, and that we are, whether you like it or not, radically interdependent with each other. Therefore, there's no option for me. My neighbors are under attack. Our babies are under attack. Each and every life matters, and it is my responsibility to care for my neighbors in this way." This is our hope. And now, if you would rise in body or spirit for number 116, the hymn, "We Would Be One."
318.
Sorry, 318.
Come, hear some wise words. Wise words. Today's wisdom tale is titled "Goodnight Racism" by the #1 New York Times bestseller of author of Anti-Racist Baby, which you may remember got a lot of acclaim a while back in Congress. The author's name is Ibram X. Kendi, and it is illustrated by Kababi Bayak. I will do my best to show you the pictures, but they're also up there. Outside the window, peeking down from the night sky, the moon watches over us. She sees kids smiling at dinner tables. Lots of different kinds of dinner tables. And yawning in their beds. But some kids do not have food, do not have beds, because of unfair rules and unjust treatment. You guys can color this when I'm done with the story. It will still be there. The moon sees all kids, whoever they are, wherever they are, and shines her light on them. The moon wants her light to kiss every child goodnight. The moon delights when every child falls asleep. There's nothing better than looking at a sleeping child, am I right? When they first fall asleep. Because the moon knows when we sleep, we dream. What is she dreaming about? Yeah, doing really proud things, speaking at a podium, dancing. When we dream, we imagine what is possible, what the world can be, and the moon glows a little brighter, whispering,
Dream, my child. Imagine, my child. A new world, a new future awaits.
a world where all people are safe, no matter how they look. How they worship. Or how they love. A world where all kids have the same chance to have peace, to have joy, to have a childhood. A world where all people breathe fresh air and have what they need to feed their minds and bodies. A world where our rules open doors, open minds, and create equity and justice for all.
Dream, my child. Create, my child. A new world, a new future awaits.
Good night, unfair rules. Good night, cruelty. Good night, injustice. Good night, inequality. Good night, hate. Good night, hurt. Good night, racism. Let's just put it to bed. I wish I had less material to choose from when coming up with what to say this morning. What a week. What a month. What a year. Although the moment we are in feels like it requires much fire and brimstone, as I began writing today's words, my little postcard of Universalist preacher John Murray sat behind me, propped up among my books, and I heard in my head these words attributed to him, but actually written by Alfred S. Cole in Our Liberal Heritage. The Times Spirit said to John Murray, "Go out into the highways and byways of America, your new country. You may possess only a small light, but uncover it. Let it shine. Use it in order to bring more light and understanding to the hearts and minds of men and women. Give them not hell, but hope and courage. Do not push them deeper into their theological despair, but preach the kindness and everlasting love of God." Then I remembered the title I gave to this message long before masked gunmen descended upon Minneapolis, long before schools became targets of raids during the school day, long before we knew the name Renee Nicole Good. I'd planned to speak about carrying each other through the resistance. Thank goodness there is a resistance movement against the authoritarian, militaristic, chaotic, government-backed violence happening around us. And thank goodness we are a part of that movement. We, meaning the Unitarian Universalist Association, we, meaning River of Grass, we, meaning me and many of you. So how do we carry each other through it? How do we manage to, in the words of Dr. King, not sleep through the revolution? So stay awake, but also rest and repeat. I think we begin by looking back, which we have done some this morning, and remembering that we have been here before. Tomorrow is still a national holiday honoring the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man of fierce love for justice and human rights who led this country through a long and difficult struggle, a man who preached a doctrine of love while working to conquer hate, a man whose family was considered to be threats against national security a dozen years before Martin was born. According to U.S. military intelligence in 1917, Negro unrest was one of 4 principal domestic enemies in the U.S. A spy network was developed to focus on black churches, and Dr. King's grandfather was in their sights. There was a long-standing relationship between Unitarian Universalists and Dr. King, who spoke at the memorial service for the Reverend James Reeb. He said, "God still has a way of bringing good of evil. History has proven over and over again that unmerited suffering is redemptive. The innocent blood of this fine servant of God may well serve as the redemptive force that will bring new light to this dark state. James Reeb may cause the whole citizenry of Alabama to transform the negative extremes of a dark past into the positive extremes of a bright future. Indeed, this tragic event may cause the white South to come to terms with its conscience." He went on to declare, "One day, the history of this great period of social change will be written in all its completeness. On that bright day, our nation will recognize its real heroes. They will be the thousands of dedicated men and women with a noble sense of purpose that enabled them to face fury and hostile mobs with the agonizing loneliness that characterizes the life of the pioneers." At the end of his eulogy, he concluded with, "The greatest tribute that we can pay to James Reeb this afternoon is to continue the work he so nobly started but could not finish because his life, like the Schubert Unfinished Symphony, was cut off at an early age. We have the challenge and change to continue. We must work to make the Declaration of Independence real in our everyday lives." Dr. King was also the honored speaker at the UUA's General Assembly Ware Lecture right here in Hollywood, Florida on May 18, 1966. During that speech, he suggested several things that he felt the church must continually do to remain awake through the revolution. One of them was to move out into the arena of social action. He said, "To remain awake through this social revolution, the church must engage in strong action programs to get rid of the last vestiges of segregation and discrimination." A year after the Civil Rights Act had been signed into law, he did not rest on his laurels and think the work was done. He said, "The plant of freedom is only a bud and not yet a flower." President Trump said in a recent interview that he believed civil rights era protections resulted in white people being very badly treated. His strongest indication that the concept of reverse discrimination is driving his aggressive crusade against diversity policies. In recent weeks, top government officials have urged white men to file federal complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which was formed under the 1965 Civil Rights Act. This week in the UU Wayfinder online magazine, there was an article focusing on our UU presence in Minneapolis. I'd like to read some of it for you now. Everybody should take their shift for this revolution, said Reverend Ashley Horan, emphasizing that all people have ways they can contribute to their community. What I want to say to our folks is that if you feel helpless, don't. There is a role for you, and the time is now to get involved. Horan said she was heartened to see UUs living their values in a time of crisis. At the center of our faith are the twin values of understanding that all life is sacred, all life has inherent worthiness and dignity, and that we are deeply interdependent and interconnected, she said. And those two things mean that when any force is coming after our neighbors, we are morally compelled to show up. And that's what I'm witnessing in my community. Reverend Jen Crow, senior minister of the First Universalist Church of Minneapolis, also joined in protest, vigil, and prayer. Crow said she and her faith community were watching ICE raids at local schools and daycares in the days since the Trump administration announced it would send 2,000 federal agents to the Twin Cities. Folks from our congregations were already out watching for ICE when I got the news that there had been a shooting at 34th Street and Portland Avenue, Crow said. She joined a group of fellow UU clergy, including Horan, Reverend Karen Hutt, and Reverend Oscar Sinclair, to gather in protest and rage at the sight of Good's killing. Interfaith clergy prayed together, Crow said. We didn't know yet that Renee had died. We were praying for the folks caring for her and for her family. We were praying for any of the healers who were present, tending to the wounded and the grieving, and we prayed for a change of heart for the militarized folks in the streets. Not the revolutionaries, but for the ICE agents and the police, that they might be able to see the distance between what they say they are there for and what they're actually doing. We prayed for protection, courage, and fierceness of love, said Crow. In the face of Good's killing and the presence of a large, heavily armed federal police force, Crow said she nevertheless feels heartened to witness the way people around her have responded. Our people are showing up at protests and vigils. They're part of the Rapid Response Network. They are making space for each other for moments of grief and for resolve, said Crow. She was inspired to see people across her congregation supporting their neighbors during this time, in particular older members of the community. Folks of the grandparent age have really stepped up, Crow said. Some members walk kids to and from school so their parents can stay safe. If parents don't feel safe leaving their homes, church members are bringing them groceries. There's a need to build a new kind of community, she says. That means being willing to do things radically different in our relationships and in how we share power and in the structures that we create. This is what Renee Good was doing and what the thousands of other rapid responders and grandparents and everyday congregants are doing already, which is seeing their fellow neighbor as a human being with inherent worthiness. We're going to keep taking care of people who are impacted, Horan says. We're going to keep getting braver. Hope and courage, like Reverend Murray, I was aspiring to give you these things. So here it is. Compelling research by Erica Chenoweth, a political scientist at Harvard University, confirms that civil disobedience is not only the moral choice, it is also the most powerful way of shaping world politics by a long way. In her research, she primarily considered attempts to bring about regime change. After looking at 323 attempts, a movement was considered a success if it fully achieved its goals both within a year of its peak engagement and as a direct result of its activities. Once around 3.5% of the whole population participated actively, success was inevitable. The American Civil Liberties Union reports that 7 million people participated in No Kings rallies around the nation. With 300 million people in this country, that leaves us a little short. But it's building, and with the events of these past recent weeks, we are starting to see more and more people, even in Congress, shift gears. The ACLU reminds us that every act of engagement, no matter how big or small, builds momentum. Mass mobilization isn't just about numbers. It's about shaping the public narrative. When our opposition spreads misinformation to justify repression or sows fears in an attempt to divide us, our collective peaceful response becomes a truth that cannot be manipulated or ignored. Another America is possible, even when those in power threaten to kill anyone who opposes them. We know it is true because Dr. King walked the way of love all the way, never allowing the powers who'd lied about him, surveilled him, and threatened him to turn him away from the faith that we shall, in fact, overcome. I may not get there with you, he said on his last night in Memphis, but we as a people will get to the promised land. It is the faith that has pushed this nation toward a more perfect union in the past, and it is the faith that we need now more than ever. Whether it's participating in a walkout, rally, parade, march, vigil, boycott, or whatever collective action you can work into your life, you are part of the resistance. River of Grass will continue to keep you informed. If you'd like to be added to our social justice WhatsApp group, let Ketchy know. I think there's also a sign-up sheet in the hallway. If you'd like to join us for tomorrow's parade or Tuesday's walkout, let us know after service. If you'd like to be a part of our security team here at River of Grass, speak to Gary Gonzalez. If you'd like to keep abreast of happenings you can take part of in the greater UU world, sign up for updates from the UUA's Side with Love campaign. No one need do this alone. Let us carry each other through. I look forward to rejoicing with you on the other side. And now let's join in singing number 116, I'm on my way. as we bring our worship to a close and extinguish our chalice, let us heed these words by the Reverend Michelle Collins. Leave this place with hope rekindled, not as wishful thinking, but as stubborn practice. In a world drenched with despair, choose joy. Choose action. Choose to believe another way is possible. And live as if it's already breaking through. Blessed be, and may it be so.
As Karen just outlined so well, there are many ways at River of Grass to live our faith and put it into action. You'll find them in our weekly email, which comes out on Thursday afternoons, on our Facebook page, and on our website, riverofgrassuu.org. So here are some of the upcoming opportunities, and prepare yourself, there are a lot of opportunities coming up. First, next week, we're going to have our new member celebration. First one of 2026. So we invite you, if you are interested in becoming a member, there is still time. You can contact me, or you can contact Ellie Keene or Diane Diaz to talk about joining River of Grass. Tomorrow, we have the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade. It's an annual event. It starts at 9:30 from 600 Northwest 6th Street, which is Sistrunk Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. Should plan to get there by 8:30, as you may have to park several blocks away. You can sign up with Karen. You see her phone number up there, or her email, or just talk to her after the service. It's a celebratory event, not a protest, at which we will sing and wave to our neighbors while honoring Dr. King and the continuing struggle for justice. If anybody is interested in carpooling and would like to meet here, let me know after service, and we could arrange that as well. And let's see, what did you write here, Karen? Oh, and right after service today, we'll be making signs to be used tomorrow in the parade. So where are we meeting? Here. Right here. In our large campus, we have to locate where we're going to be.
And another quick note, if you're worried about not knowing the songs, today was a rehearsal. All the music we did today will be what's sung tomorrow at the march.
Thank you, Peter. On Tuesday, January 20th, you will have another opportunity to practice resistance at the Free America Walkout. The QR code on the screen will take you to registration and a list of local events. Many of us here will be attending the event in Sunrise, but your walkout can happen anywhere. This is not a march or a protest, it is a walkout. It's how regular people show we're paying attention and we're not okay with what's happening, and we're organized, and we're willing to use our time, labor, and presence to demand a free America. Again, you can talk to Karen for more information. Our mid-year meeting will take place, congregational meeting will take place next Sunday after worship service from 12 to 2:30, roughly. We may finish sooner than that. Lunch will be served. Our covenant groups and our wonderful hospitality team are providing lunch for everybody. The final agenda and information for a proposed change to our bylaws was sent to all members on the 11th of January, so please let me know if you did not receive it, and I will send it to you again. We will be taking a vote, so we do need a quorum of 40% of our members. So please be there if you are a member, and all are welcome to attend. There will also be Zoom. We'll be back on Zoom for this meeting. So if you can't be here in person, you can also attend via Zoom. Details on the Zoom will be sent out next weekend. Also, please sign up now for a new workshop provided by the UUA. It's called Mosaic, and it is about fostering belonging and liberation in UU congregations and communities. You'll gain an understanding about how UU values support police abolition and explore histories and current expressions of colonization, indigenous erasure, and anti-Blackness. Karen, our Director of Faith Development, which thank you so much, Karen, for such an amazing service and message. She will be leading this, and you can talk to her or email her at faithdevelopment@riverofgrassuu.org. Religious educator, sorry. Oh, wrong email address. It's religiouseducator@riverofgrassuu.org. But we call her our faith development director, so many hats. Okay, so, and now for some fun, because we do have to continue to have fun. Fun is also resistance. Joy is resistance. So, the choir is sponsoring our second karaoke night. We had so much fun last year, and I hope there are no videos. I really hope there are no videos.
Video recording will not be allowed at this event.
Okay. Anyway, it's this coming Saturday night, January 24th, Saturday night. There are still tickets available for $25, which does include dinner. Please talk to Ellie, who's standing right there in the door, if you can attend. We'd love to have you. And please, this is an auction item, and we do welcome you to bring as many friends as you can. We have lots of space. We will serve chili, salad, dessert, and wine and beer will be available for a nominal fee. The doors open at 6, and the partying begins, the singing begins later, 6:30-ish. Okay. Ellie is also here to tell you that we all need help from everybody for our hospitality hours. You can sign up to bring savory or sweet things to go with the coffee that we serve. There's a sign-up sheet in the hospitality area, or you can just see Ellie. Now we have some music, the South Florida Folk and Acoustic Music Club. So let's do some community outreach. We will have a booth at the South Florida Folk Music and Acoustic Music Club event at the Bergeron Rodeo Grounds in Davie. It goes from January 30th through February 1st. So River of Grass will have a table, and we have a sign-up sheet. And if you do work at the table, you get free admission to hear the wonderful music that happens there. So Andy Bunce is not here, but Peter is. So you can see Peter Fox or Ellie to sign up. It is a great time and a great event to go to and support.
And I believe your fee is covered if you volunteer, so you can see the music for free, right?
That is true. That is definitely true. So, okay, three more announcements. Immerse yourself in nature. Join the Full Moon Daughters. They're going to be walking through the alluring Murakami Museum and Japanese Gardens in Delray Beach, 10 a.m. on Saturday, January 31st. All women, girls, and those who identify as female are welcome. Carpooling will be available. You can see Diane Lade if you would like to join. So grab your coffee after service, and you can have some of Bev's amazing cookies as well. And look at the spiritual arts display that is on the back wall right behind you. The artists featured are Milton Karp, Dora Font, Peter Fox, Steve Jens Rockow, Bev Kaufman, Sheila Klein, Ed Lewis, and Theo Lucas, person of many talents. So please, thank you to our spiritual arts team for putting up this beautiful art, and please do take a look. And last but not least, there is a weekly interfaith vigil outside of Alligator Alcatraz, and we attempt to go as often as possible. Today, you can meet at A9 to carpool. So Theo is going to be our leader today. If you would like to go today, please meet here at 2:15, and we'll depart by 2:30. This is a really moving interfaith event, and the whole point is to shut it down. And contrary to popular opinion, it seems to have gotten out into the zeitgeist that Alligator Alcatraz is closed. It is not. People are still being held there. So if you want to really feel connected with this struggle, I recommend going. It is really a moving event. And with that, the announcements are coming to an end, other than to invite you, please, to join us for hospitality afterwards. Stick around so we can all share.
I will say also that Bev, I'm sorry to say, there's some competition for your cookies. Issa brought cookies in that were homemade. Oh my God.
Can we have that poster? My sweetie, can you hold that poster up for us? I want to see all your beautiful work. Do you see what they've done? Isn't that lovely?
Nice.
You can do that too. There's more posters over there and more markers and paint. And we need to decorate our parade vehicle, which is right out front. So if you would like to spend a little time and release a little creativity and help us get prepared for tomorrow, whether or not you can be there, we welcome you to help us do that. So remember that sometimes our faith requires our feet. So if you are available for tomorrow's march to tomorrow's parade to pay homage to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., or any other of the many things that we have mentioned, you could probably just talk to me as a start, and there are many sign-up sheets. So before we go, may the joy, the hope, and the love we found together this morning keep our hearts warm until we meet again. Shine on.